Here I go. I'm going to try this. It's not going to work out this morning, but I'm going to try it. Um, I wanted to put this down, I suppose, first, and then I'm going to try to put this back on the stand one more time. Um, Everything's focused on President Trump and Nancy Pelosi and Chuckie Boy Schumer. Okay, and I'm going to say this right off. I was looking to see who are the wealthiest, excuse me, senators, House of Representatives, and you should see their net worth. And maybe I shouldn't start off with this because my life has been a living hell, and I wonder if I'll live to see the next day or if my children are still alive. Innocent crimes that are unspeakable. John Warner from Virginia is one of the wealthiest. So you can get into the list, and if they're good or bad, they sit on the intelligence committees and judiciary and all this. And they're from Virginia, where I've lived since '86, if you call it living, but I'm at least alive for the moment. Don't know if my children are. Because we were kidnapped, and I'm Victoria II, the real heir, legal to the British Crown. It was stolen. My father, Edward VIII, was taken out illegally with character assassination. He was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, my mother. School teacher, sister artist Georgia O'Keefe from Wisconsin, an American. He never married Wallace Simpson. She married a double. There were several imposters, impersonators. Still today, this is what you see, and this is what tears me apart. The lies, and then what was done to me. JFK helped in my kidnapping, and since I put all this up, and I'm doing this morning, I might as well just do it this way, I suppose, rather than trying to put it in there. And I realize that it doesn't, it gets my nose most of the time. But I did want to ask this question of everybody. If you care about what's happening to, it's already happened to me and mine, so only God could solve it. By the way, I wanted to mention this. I'm 80 years old as far as I know. I'm about that, give or take a few days. I was just looking. I have lived on the trail. I'm the Queen of England, the real one. I've had all these things done to me and my children that are so sick, and my mom and dad and my country. It's a hell of a way to treat your friend and ally, isn't it? Anyway, Nancy Pelosi is just a year younger than me. Have you seen her up on with Chuckie Boy? You've called me names. You've deprived me of everything. You've done ugly, sick crimes to me. I can't call you Chuckie, and I don't know what to call Nancy Pelosi. I better stop while I'm ahead. Okay, I'd like to know this. They're so wealthy, and I put this down. I'm not going to read from it. You can Google it. She has vineyards. Her and her husband are so wealthy. Either one of them are so wealthy. They went to, I think, she went to, I'm not sure if she went to Harvard, Washington, Harvard. I don't know. But she went to college and all this, and she's the first, I believe, female speaker of the House of Representatives, or maybe speaker, period, of like, etc. So these are people who have been there, and I had it all written down, but if you want to Wikipedia it or Google it, you can. I think I'm just going to push this over and not even try to put it up there. What's called? This is what I'm going through trying to put this up while people lying and drawing salaries, and they've taken my money and everything from me and my position done this to my children that you can't repay, even if somebody tried. These people are well thought of. They're putting on a show for you up there. This is what I go through. I'm lucky to have a place to live. I've lived on the Appalachian Trail in a hiker's shelter. I've starved, I've frozen, I've gotten water out of the little bitty creek right after 2 deers peed and walked in it, urinated in it. And a buzzard at one point had looked like it had washed its... I didn't see it until after I'd gotten the water, though. I might not have taken that. A buzzard was sitting there and it opened up its keel. You could see it right. It scared me, really. I'm going to get off of that because I was afraid the buzzard was going to come after me, too. I'm just telling you just a touch out of my life. While these people have always known about my kidnapping, about my father and mother, and they're sitting up here, why have they not told you any of this? They've known about it since Winston Churchill, Archbishop of Canterbury, Cosmos Lane, Lane, I believe, because that was the name of the preacher that married my husband and I, okay? And then it comes into some other stuff. Anyway, Winston Churchill is pipe smoking. There's no words to describe him. He's made out to be a hero. My father is the one made out to be the villain when it's the opposite. Okay, he even had an apartment furnished in the White House. Roosevelt, FDR, made out to be the good guy. He was a part of the kidnapping, making Joe Kennedy U.S. ambassador to England in 1936 for the purpose of taking down my father. So this whole thing about marrying American spy Wallace Simpson was an absolute lie. But it continues today. And they don't speak of my mother. And the O'Keeffes have pretty much been wiped out of the picture. They were wealthy in their own right. Well, Georgia is an artist. One of her paintings, 2 of them, just sold back this last year, way up in there. They controlled her money back then. So I've been kept totally penniless just about, fighting for my life and hoping I get to see my children again who are heirs after me. Now, I know this is going to run into another tape, and it's not the way I meant to put it up. I had this in the mess I'm in here. It's disorganized because I don't have the way to do it, all right, or the means. I get by and I'm doing this. With the help of the last few months, a few people have jumped in on Facebook, not Facebook, on YouTube, and they helped with sent some food, and they also sent a few clothes, which I was very happy to get. Let me say that. So they've made life a little better, but this is still the way I'm living. And I'm not trying to throw a pity party, but maybe I should. The people living in my home that should be in prison, evicted. And they welcome Meghan Markle in because she's biracial. And they teach her the social graces, which I was put in a pigsty here in Moulton, Alabama, when I was kidnapped by the Kennedys and the Illuminati. Members of my own family helped. Elizabeth, who's sitting up there all proper and well-dressed in jewels and gowns that who paid for. You got it, flaunt it, right? Now then, I want to get back to this. You got all these politicians up there. Chuckie Schumann, is it? Okay. Nancy Pelosi. And they're in a battle with Donald Trump, President Trump. I'd like to ask you this. She's a year younger than me. And I want to show you who she had on up couple of days ago, and you look at NBC, ABC, CBS, and all these people, hosts on the morning programs, they're the media. They're supposed to be telling you the news. That's what they get paid for, not cover-ups and working for the Illuminati. They're all having a blast. They're having a party every day up there. I'd like to ask you this. Why? With all I've put up here, and they all know about me, you better believe they do. Nancy Pelosi, they all do, from back when I was kidnapped and they took down my father. The ransom money, etc., has been poured through the State Department, and I don't know about defense, any other thing they could grab and get off of me, and as ransom money. So my country paid ransom, a really high price. I'm going to show a picture of my dad real quick here. This is 39 George, the illegal 6. His brother has that with Roosevelt, and their family's 1939 planning my kidnapping. Now, I'm going to put this up here again. I know this tape's going to run off, but someone sent this up to me when I was living on the Appalachian Trail, freezing, starving, for many years. It's a book that came out after I'd told all this about mind control and the Tesla files, and you can cure an illness or create it, like Ebola and AIDS they sent to Africa, and AIDS here too in this country. So that was manufactured. You can cure an illness or create it, the Tesla files. They sent this up, and I'd already said that Timothy McVeigh was programmed, because I had done a book on medical malpractice and malpractice, murder, rape, you name it. Call it what you want. It was criminal and sick, and they got me again. And I want to inject this again. You're going to tell me that Chuckie and Pelosi and all these people, Jeff Sessions knew it from Alabama, that Trump just let go, was U.S. Attorney General. You got all these people dating back to when Eisenhower, Truman, Nixon, the Watergate tapes, 18.5-minute gap with Kissinger, having me laid out in Atlanta, College Park, and I put this up many times. If the Brits didn't cross his palms, and he was with Nixon in the office when this tape was made, phone call was made to College Park. Victor Gonzalez stood over me, a doctor behind me, ready to lobotomize me, and the people I was trying to get to had been drugged. Doctors standing just across the hall, they were in scrubs, and I kept thinking if I could only tell them to help me or get them to help me. They weren't there to help me. I realize that now. So I'm going to go back to the 18.5-minute gap that was subpoenaed, and Kissinger was on the other end. And I'm going to go back to this now. So I think it would be quite proper, could you offer me this, that you reconvene the Watergate hearings and you hear the rest of the story, what really happened, and the cover-up. Okay, implantable biochips, that's what I was writing about, programming people, putting them in root canals. Your dentists, your doctors, your psychiatrists, psychologists, your MDs, all know this. Where have they been? That ought to tell you something. After all, you don't know if your child is programmed, like the Parkland in Florida. Everybody hates him. He's a victim of programming, just like the Columbine and the Aurora, Colorado, and the Ventura that just happened. By the way, you haven't seen me put up any recently, about the last couple of months, murders since Ventura, really, about done in patterns recently. Wonder why? Because I haven't seen any that I could attest to, and except Watts, that his seems similar to, and I could to me, I could say it is. He was programmed like Scott Peterson, who's on death row. Now then, this book was sent up to me after I told all this and about Timothy McVeigh, and that's the reason they sent it up. Timothy McVeigh said the U.S. Army implanted a chip in him, his buttocks. And now he went on and was put to death for the Oklahoma City bombing and the Murray building, federal building. And the other man is still in prison, Brian. Well, I know his name, but right now I can't think. Anyway, they sent this up here too because in this book, and I just have the page out of it, and said this to give it to me. This is what I'd been telling about all this time since '76, and I was writing the book in '76, so I started telling about it prior though. Well, I better not read this out of theirs. They're talking about the mark of the beast and talking about the end times. The Illuminati that kidnapped me. When I started doing this, I didn't know it led to the end times, and this really, what is a prophecy in the Bible? The name of it's Project Lucid, and it's by Tex I think it's by Tex Mars, M-A-R-R-S. And it talks about the chipping and what I've been talking about, where there's no money, and it's a global biochip. That's already been going on for a long time. They're just ready to turn it over now, where you can't buy or sell. And so I'm going to stop on that one. Here's what I wanted to get to before this goes off. The other day, Nancy Pelosi and Chuckie Schumer were up there in all their glory. And Nancy Pelosi had Gabby Giffords up there. I'm going to show you this, okay? They're pushing for gun control. Now, this is Mark Kelly, who's married to Gabby Gifford, who was a U.S. Congresswoman. She was shot in Tucson, Arizona, along with some people at, I don't know what they were, having a political rally in Tucson. And she was shot and badly hurt. And she's a U.S. Congresswoman. Okay, here's the deal. My son's name and a lot that surrounds me, they're done in patterns, mind control murders. Okay, my son's names are Mark and Scott. They're victims in this whole bloody mess, and I hope the world gets to see what was done to my babies. My father, I know, if he were alive, would love to see his name cleared, and my mom's, and his daughter, me, and the truth told, and I hope it is. But here is Mark Kelly, she married, and Scott was Kelly's. Mark and Scott's my son's name, and I'm going to put this back around, and hope it doesn't go out here. Well, it's going out in a minute. Anyway, they're twins. Now, twins becomes a part of this, and I'm going to stop here and go to number 2.